course when I talk about it, but one thing the computer allowed us to do is realize there was gaps. And probably one of the biggest gaps we had, or the most evident gap, was women. There was only a couple of women on there, and I hadn't been aware that women's stories had not been told from the war. I was raised next to Gertrude Gulliver. She was my cousin, and believe me, she liked to talk about the war. She liked to talk about just about anything. But I didn't realize that a lot of you women did not tell your stories as much as the men did, perhaps. There was very little evidence of your work, and I think probably it's because for many people after the war, attitudes have changed. After the war, certainly, if you hadn't been shot at, you weren't at the front line, you weren't exactly, your stories weren't remembered exactly the same. But we realized that the nurses and the racks and the rents and stuff, all of them, if you don't have their stories, you don't have the whole story of what the war was really like, because everybody comes back to their stories. Women came back and raised families, they got jobs, they lived normal lives, and so many times their stories are forgotten. Women, in general, you would probably agree, Laura, do not write down things the same as men. If you go to the museum, probably 90% of the diaries left are little diaries of men, not women, because, let's face it, women do all the work. My mom told me that. I was joking. Anyway, there's very little evidence of yours. You don't have the attestation papers, you don't have the records and stuff. And certainly, especially for those of you who served in the medical field, those records, because they're medical, are kept confidential. They're not being released the same as anybody else. So your stories need to be told. They're really important. That's why it's an honor to have you guys being honored, to you ladies being honored today, because simply we want your stories. We want to say thank you to you because you were just as important as anyone else in this war, and we owe you the thanks for our freedom. So congratulations, and it's an honor to collect your stories.
I've been called everything from cannelloni to calamari. It's all good. I answer to anything. So in the last month and a half, I've taken over for Steve Brown. And if you thought he was working really hard in the last year, he was lying to you. I was doing his job. So he's looking really good while doing it. We've been putting, we have almost 5,749, I think is our exact number. Round it down, 5,700 veterans in our Duff Stuff Memorial. And I can say we've maybe got 100 of them are women, and I know there's more of you out there. I mean, 2 of you right here, we didn't have you listed. And thank you to Sharon for letting us know that you weren't in our memorial. We're started a War Brides project over there in the Duff Stuff to let people know that these women moved over here. But again, we made many stories. And we really want to tell your stories, especially with next year's project at the museum being our new exhibit about suffragettes and the movement towards getting you the right to vote and everything else. It's not just about that. We're going to be touching on items that have to do with getting more rights outside of the home and working in the field and everything you guys did in World War II, things that you've never told us your stories. We need to know them. So I'm encouraging you and your families to please come and get a hold of me. If you have to, get a hold of Wayne, get a hold of Steve, everybody knows where he lives anyway. And just, he'll get a hold of me eventually. And just let us know your stories. We'll come out and see you. And we want to talk more about what you guys did. I mean, some of you I know we couldn't say too much about what you did because it was supposed to be classified. Well, I can tell you now, nothing's classified anymore. So feel free to share your stories. So I want to thank all of you. And Cookie and Vicki, we've got your stories thanks to you and your family and talking.
Quilts of Valour is a movement that started in the United States several years ago, a long time ago. It just started in Canada in 2006. A lady by the name of Leslie Swall, she's out in Alberta, made the first presentation to 3 soldiers that were in one of the base hospitals here, and it was very emotional for her, and that started it. Myself, and I've got several of my ladies here. We have Anne and Ida and Ione and Carol and Bev and Sharon, wherever she went, there she is. We get together once a month. Hazel Keating, a lot of you will know her. She had wonderful idea and talked to somebody at the Legion one day. And the Shelburne Legion gives us a room there at least once a month. We could get in even more if we wanted to, and we get together and we make quilts. And it's our way of saying thank you, and I always get emotional. I do this because my grandfather and his 3 brothers were over there. They all fought for the country. They held, they held something down waiting for the U.S. guys to come. So they were instrumental. It means a great deal to all of us that do this. We have one problem, Canada's privacy laws. We know there's still several vets at Shelburne Legion. We have their names. That's all we have. We don't know how to get a hold of them or their families to make a presentation. We have the quilts. We have a small stockpile. I haven't even contacted the Orange Hill Legion yet because we want to get these guys taken care of before we go there. But our goal is World War II vets. If you know of a World War II vet who has not received a quilt yet, please call me. I have some pamphlets with me in my purse. I'll leave them wherever I'm told to leave them. Contact us. Let us know who this person is, how we can find this person to present a quilt. When we are done with the World War II vets, that is our immediate goal because, as Gord said, they're almost extinct. We will focus on the other ones. Our big goal is every vet in Dufferin County will be presented with a Quilt of Valour to thank them for their service to our country and for what they did for us. Thank you.
She's very young. She's starting over. She got to 100. Now she's 1. Okay? And she's going to be 2 soon. Okay? So in that is a feat in itself. So.
And she's a great singer.
And she is a great singer. Yes, she is. And she plays the piano without glasses because she plays for me sometimes. So that's wonderful. But Vinky spent over 2 years in the Royal Canadian Air Force. She achieved the rank of leading airwoman due to her mathematics skills, which I didn't know that she was very smart in mathematics, but apparently she is. And the ability to keep secrets. Can you keep secrets? Can you keep secrets, Vicky? Well, any kind of secret. Probably. Anyway, she could keep secrets. She spent several years decoding messages from Japan and relaying the coded messages to England. Isn't that amazing? So this is the quilt that the ladies have made for Vicky. Isn't that wonderful, Vicky?
Yes, lovely.
Isn't that gorgeous? Do you want to come up here and get a picture with it, love?
She sings. She sings. Hang on.
Cookie enlisted. She was the first woman in the 1st Division of the Women's Division in the Air Force to be the first woman in that division. Did I say that right?
First woman in the 1st Division.
Yes, the first woman in the 1st Division. And she, I think, let me see where she served here. Yes. She served in Trenton, and then she was over in Ottawa, and she became a wing commander. Is that true?
Secretary.
Secretary of the wing commander. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that beautiful, Cookie?
Yes, it is. That's for you.
Wow. So, Cookie, would you like to get a picture with that?
Okay.
Wonderful. Isn't that Birdie?
It's Jane.
You can have it too, Joanne. It's nice.
If I was her father, I'd have a flippin' bird, but anyway, here it goes. She enlisted in 1942 at the age of 16, and you know, my daughter's going off to university and I'm having a bird. I can't imagine knowing that she was enlisted at 16 years old, but anyway, that's just the dad in me. Like Princess Elizabeth in England, she was part of the motor pool, and she drove dignitaries around. Her responsibility was to look after her Jeep and to maintain it, and she drove these people everywhere. She is also she's awarded a third-class mechanic's license. In other words, she could tear an engine down and put it back together in an hour. Isn't that cool? Now, when I was growing up, I loved cars. I still can't tear an engine down and put it back together, so you'll have to come and show me. How's that sound? Okay? So anyway, this is your quilt,
That's what it is.
isn't it? So would you like to get a picture there with it?
Are we finished saying that?
So to put your hand.
Something to you. So if you guys just hold on there for a second.
Oh yeah, that's just it there.
Here's your pin. I'll just read the plaque because it's shorter. On behalf of the grateful nation, we present you the certificate of recognition to Joyce Bell as a tribute to your selfless acts of service and sacrifice during the Second World War in defense of Canada and our shared values of freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. And that's
Nice.
presented on behalf of the Canadian government. And that's what
I'm a little bit ambulatory this morning because I just had a hip replacement shortly. So we all know some parts were quicker than others. But anyway, Gord has had many hats, as well as being the pastor here at the Oaks. He's also the padre for our veterans group and also the chaplain for the Legion. So we thank you for his presence in our organization, and he's a true blessing to us. A little short background. 2 years ago, several of the veterans here in the Shelburne area decided to get together to discuss mutual concerns and support for each other and some of the policies that the government was implementing concerning veterans, especially in Afghanistan. And that quickly evolved into a weekly get-together at the Canadian Legion for coffee, humor, conversation, mutual support, and where we had coffee and tidbits provided by the generous ladies of the Ladies Auxiliary. The meeting was also open to the wives of the vets and widows of former veterans. Shortly after we began, Lily became a frequent visitor to our meetings, and we fondly referred to her as our wild Irish Rose for her shining eyes and her sharp wit. Lil has always been very, very active in volunteer work and supportive of veterans' activities. She's even been awarded the Queen's Golden Jubilee Medal for her service to the Legion and to the community here in Shelburne. Lily began her service, volunteer service, at a very early age when, as a young lady, she joined the NAFI. For those of you who don't know, NAFI is Navy, Army, Air Force Institute. It was created by the British government in 1921 to provide amenities and activities and services to all British personnel serving at that time. During World War II, this service was continued, and the volunteer staff continued to provide amenities and hospitality services to all members and branches of the Commonwealth services serving in England, in Great Britain, and transiting through. NAFI was very much appreciated by all the troops, and our presenter this morning, Dave Barr, who served in Great Britain as a pilot or in the air crew with the Royal Canadian Air Force, had many opportunities to be served by NAFI personnel. Although Lil didn't qualify as a vet, the members of the Dufferin Veterans Association have voted to recognize her service in the NAFI and her continued volunteer support of the vets and the Legion, and they're herefore going to present her with a quilt to keep her warm and comfortable, and also as a reminder that you are appreciated, and thank you for your service and volunteer and your support. God bless you. Now you can come out. There's that smile. There's that smile.
Take a picture with the blanket.
Here we go.
Lily in the blanket.
Want it open?
Yes, please.
Stay there.
I want to thank you, Lily, for all your services. We certainly appreciated your efforts in NAFI. I don't know if you ever served me a coffee or not, but you're one of my favorite Irish lassies.